welcome to Pluribus Unum's Fireside Chats. Not as good as FDR's, but hey, it's something. This episode will... You know what, it actually won't be controversial, because nobody watches my show. Ha! You can't make that joke now. I made that joke before you did. But the two of you who do watch it, it might be controversial. Actually, scratch that. Probably won't be even for the two people, because there's a good chance they're either going to agree or not, or aren't going to care enough to actually contribute to the discussion. But anyways, let's get right into the news. First, update of last week. South Korea. How did we do? South Korean opposition candidate Yoon elected president. Well, we didn't do good. Basically... there was one prediction that I said that was actually accurate. I gave a slight to Lee, but that's only because and I admitted in the episode, it was only because I like Lee. But the prediction that I did get right 100% was that I said it was going to be close regardless of who wins. And Lee, he got 47.83 and Yoon got 48.56. So like I said, really close. The one thing I do hope is that Lee runs again. I think it would be interesting to have Lee Jae-myung run again in the future. We already know An Chol-soo and Sim Sam-jung is going to run again, but it would be nice to see if Lee runs again. But anyways, now going on the other hemisphere, we're going to talk about Venezuela, because, this is actually an update in the Ukraine situation. You might say, what? Okay, well, you won't say what, because you've probably already heard this before. But basically, the U.S. has now decided to soften its stance on Venezuela. Because now, due to the fact that we've cut out Russian oil out of the U.S.'s diet, we now need new oil. So, Maduro and the U.S. are going to now start talking to each other and maybe are going to start forming up formal negotiations to negotiate, ending the sanctions. I don't know if this is related, but I did see a tweet where it was the inflation rate in Venezuela started going down basically around the same time. It was Venezuela's inflation last year was 48%, and now the inflation rate in not even now, but in January, the inflation rate was 4.8. So it's definitely things are easing up for Venezuela. I think that maybe Venezuela might go back into an economic boom. And, a lot of people are even noticing that the language regarding Venezuela has changed. Now, all of a sudden, people are talking about, Venezuelan immigrants are coming back to Venezuela instead of fleeing Venezuela, and that Maduro is embracing capitalism, quote unquote. And I know we haven't been hearing from Juan Guaido in a while, but I think we're not gonna be hearing from Juan Guaido anymore, because there's really no point anymore. The whole point of Juan Guaido is you get in, we get the oil. Now that Maduro's just gonna give them the oil, Juan Guaido's purpose is served. So yeah, things are looking up for Latin America. Now to fly all the way back to the other side of the hemisphere again, we're gonna be talking about Israel. The very, very, very uncontroversial topic of Israel. I'm pretty sure nothing would go wrong in the comments if I was famous. So anyways, the Knesset passed a law that barred Palestinian spouses. Israel's parliament on Thursday passed a law denying naturalization to Palestinians from the occupied West Bank or Gaza married to Israeli citizens. Wait. Oh, okay, yeah. I think I might have misread that, but I don't remember. I might have misread that. But it's basically, to summarize, Palestinians from the West Bank or Gaza who get married to Israelis will no longer be naturalized, meaning they will no longer be Israeli citizens. Well, technically they will not be allowed to get Israeli citizenship. And the bill passed very overwhelmingly. It was 45-15, and only 3 parties openly had a majority of their members vote against it. I remember there was a Twitter account that was Israeli politics follower, and there was a person who said the Knesset usually doesn't have everybody in attendance at the same time, especially during COVID, so maybe that's why it isn't like that. But the 3 parties that have openly said they did not vote for this law, because I couldn't find vote totals outside of 45-15, but basically the 3 parties that seemed to have voted no were Meretz, the United Arab List, and the Joint List. The rest of the parties voted for it. Now, for those who need a quick refresher on who these three are, Meretz is basically the Israeli Green Party. You know, they're basically like the Social Democrats who were like, we oppose the labor Zionism of the Labor Party, and they have more friendly relationship with Palestinians. Meanwhile, the two list parties are parties that are for Arabic/Palestinian/Arab Israeli citizens. But the difference is, the joint list is the left wing, and the United Arab List are the right wing. Originally, those parties were part of the same list, hence the name's list. They were supposed to be running on the same party list. The joint list in and of itself is actually a coalition of three parties. I mean, technically to a degree, 4, 5. It's, again, very confusing, but it's basically a bunch of Arab parties joined up together. However, the United Arab List was originally part of that coalition, but then, due to the differences between them, like the most prominent member of the joint list is Hadash, which is the Israeli Communist Party. They were basically the leaders of the coalition, and Ram, i.e. the United Arab List, were like, we don't like that, we're gonna run on our own. And then they ran on their own and won a couple of seats, basically tying with the joint list, like maybe getting like 1 or 2 less than the joint list in the Knesset, but basically they ended up joining a coalition with the Blue and White and the Labor Party and Yamina. So did Meretz. They're basically part of like the United Anti-Likud coalition, which, as you can tell by the fact that I didn't mention either of these parties, any of the parties that are outside of the coalition, outside of those two voting against it, you can tell they didn't necessarily live up to the anti-Likud part in this field, but Meretz and Ram basically held up their standards. And Ram even stated point blank that they would vote on this, they would vote no to this bill, even if it would mean that they would have to go into another election. And this other election is going to be very difficult because the thing is, the Joint List and the United Arab List and Yamina, but I don't think Yamina has the same problem anymore, but like, the two Arab parties are basically no-nos in Israeli politics. Forming a coalition with them is basically considered like, oh, how dare you? But as you can see, one of them ended up becoming part of a coalition. So yeah, potentially another Israeli election coming up soon. Maybe I'll talk about that one. Hey, I'll tell you what, if another Israeli election happens, I will talk about it. Speaking of foreign people and elections, here's an interesting one that just got revealed. Tulsi Gabbard. Now you might say, what? Well, it was revealed that Tulsi Gabbard had received money from a Russian asset. It wasn't that big of an amount, granted. It was $595, but many people also bring up like the fact that this was the only donation made by this person, and this person was in the United States and is being accused right now of being a Russian asset with direct ties to Putin. It's confusing, like, this is the only donation she made, and why is it to Tulsi? And Tulsi's already have like a bunch of accusations of like Russian asset and stuff. Basically, like, the only reason I'm talking about this is because this got me thinking again, basically like, I should do a Russiagate post-mortem. Like, I mean, I've been interested in doing like a podcast where I do like a Russiagate post-mortem, where I basically go, now that Russiagate is basically 100% over, what the heck happened? What the heck actually happened? Because I think my views on it have kind of evolved, kind of, like, not even necessarily, but it's like, it just, it's really hard to explain, which is why I'm teasing an episode where I'll talk all about it. I don't know when it will be released, but it will be made at some point in the future. It probably won't be 201, but it will be 2 something. Speaking of Russia, let's talk about something interesting that just happened. There was a vote to sanction Russia, and it passed 414 to 17. The only reason why I'm talking about it is because 2 of the people in the 17 category were Ilhan Omar and Cori Bush, who both stated they will not be voting for the sanctions because they feared that the sanctions were too broad and too, like I said, they were too broad. Basically meaning that there was no end date in mind for the sanctions, and the sanctions can't go on forever. Ilhan Omar specifically cited a sanction that wasn't repealed until like 2012, and it was instituted during the Cold War, and the sanctions would hurt a lot of people. I mean, and that is true. Russian sanctions have been hurting the Russian people. It's especially been hurting the Russian economy. Like, I mean, there's a funny story where Russian OnlyFans models can't even get their money because of the sanctions that are being put on them. And that is why the Russian economy is dying right now. Because guys have this like really big thing about Russian girls. Like, I mean, I would see videos that would pop up into the feed of people like American girls versus Russian girls. And it's like everybody has like the common like image in their head like of the hot Russian wife. But of course, this decision got a lot of flack from people. You know, people saying like, why would you not vote for the sanctions? And people even saying like, oh, Ilhan Omar is a BDS supporter. Isn't it a bit interesting that she's supporting a sanction on Israel and not a sanction on Russia? We'd even had people who would try to debate me on the topic and basically be like, I say point blank, like, do you support BDS first? So is your argument that they should support both or neither? And they say, I support BDS and I think she should support both. And then they would delete that tweet and then post, I believe that she should support either or both. And it's like, huh, that's interesting. That's a weird, interesting thing. You went from saying like you point blank supported BDS and that she should support both sanctions, and now you change your mind. Okay, I guess. But basically, here's the thing. Like, I'm not like a sanctions person. Like, I'm not like a, we must do sanctions now. Like, I understand that sanctions can hurt people, and I understand that there's some sanctions that are beneficial. Like, sometimes that you would sanction a specific individual in a nation, make sure that money doesn't go to them. I'm not really like a sanctions person, but I also understand like the idea of like, I understand that we don't have necessarily that much of an option. Russia needs some sort of punishment for what they've done, and this seems to be the situation that'll hurt the least amount of people. Like, I mean, it's either this or Biden sends like a missile or he sends troops over there. Like, I mean, this is the lesser evil in this particular situation. Now, of course, you're going to see a lot of people go, you can do nothing. Well, doing nothing is not going to help at all. Doing nothing will literally make the situation worse. At the end of the day, this situation will be the thing that ends the deaths. Because if the Russian economy is so poor, then Putin would probably lose control of the people, and then he would then have less incentive to do the war because the people hate him, and he would have to fix all the problems in Russia. And then that could actually propel someone who is of a very viable alternative to Putin to succeed, whether it be the Russian Communist Party or what's his name? Navalny, that's his name. Basically, like, they're basically saying like somebody would do it. Like, and this isn't me like saying like, oh, I agree with everything that either of those like people who are opponents to Putin would do, but it's like it would incentivize them to do it. Like, they would be like a first step to like a ideal society for the Russian people. Like France after the Nazis were gone, who was their first leader that was elected? Charles de Gaulle. I mean, if I were a person who had the ability to choose, would I have chosen Charles de Gaulle? Probably not. Charles de Gaulle is a conservative. But it's like, I mean, he's a decent first step. Like a bunch of other like foreign leaders in foreign countries. The first choice is usually not the best one, but then you end up finding a better one down the line. With all that out of the way, let's move on to the main topic itself. My problems with political streamers / streaming. Now, before we continue, I should preface it with this. To all the streamers who are watching this, I don't mean you. I mean everybody else in your field. You are great, and you should keep doing what you're doing. Well, unless you are doing the bad things that I'm about to say, in which case, stop doing that. And if you are watching this, you should also note, this is my opinions. My opinions are based on certain facts and things, but for the most part, this is my opinions. And especially when I begin, because when I begin, it's basically going, like, the first things I'm going to say are basically purely opinion. They're basically like, that's nothing. But then as we go on, it's going to be like, oh, this is like a more, I get what you're saying. You'll see what I mean when things go on. Now, another thing I should say is, this isn't me being salty because I can't stream. At least that's what I'm telling myself. This is more just me trying to help improve the craft. And this isn't even 100% to be divisive. Like I mean, I see this all the time. Like Noah Sampson did the debate bro problem, and then Vosh responded with the video essayist problem. This isn't me like saying like, oh, the streamer problem. Well, I mean, this is what I'm saying, but I'm not putting it in a way where it's like, oh, the streamers are like super bad or whatever. where both sides basically try to paint like, oh, this is like actual broad strokes. Like where Vosh said in his video where he's like, I'm not actually trying to do this. It's like, but I mean, you did make a video titled The Video Essayist Problem and then go on to do this thing, whatever. Anyways, I'm rambling trying to make sure I don't send a million hate mail my way. Now first, I'm actually going to be doing something that the title doesn't say I'm going to be doing. I'm going to give some positives first. We're going to start off with a good foot forward. Of course, if streaming's done right, it can be just as entertaining and informative as, say, my videos. You know, some of the streamers are funny, they have, like, quirky personalities, they're able to provide very intelligent and, like, informative content. They offer quite a variety of content to talk about. Debates, discussions, arguments. The connectivity that streamers have with their fan base is really envious. Like, I mean, I have, like almost 700 subscribers, and I have, like, a very, like, my relationship with my fans is there, but it's, like, nothing really. Meanwhile, a streamer of my size, that relationship would probably be a lot more noticeable because those people would probably tune in every single episode and, like, talk in the chat or whatever. You know, donos, whatever. And it is kind of nice to see just, like, I mean, even though I don't watch these guys on stream, you know, Vosh or Xander or whatever, it is nice to see, like, all these comments come in. Like, it's like, all those comments are of a particular person who's giving their opinion on this topic or this video or whatever. I even engaged in one of their chats once. Well, multiple times in the same chat, but only one time got a response. Can you unravel this mystery? And another positive that streamers have over, like, prepared content creators is this. 99% of all streamers are hot. The remaining 1% is insert joke here. Okay, now that we've done the positives, let's look at the negatives. First, one that is incredibly unimportant. To me, streams are just not the main thing. It's a thing. Like, this is literally just because I didn't jump on the trend when it happened. Basically, back in 2014, when streams were starting to become a lot more prominent and a lot more mainstream, and Twitch started hitting off as a platform, I basically said, nah, I don't think this is going to work. I think this is going to be a dying trend that I don't think is going to pan out. People prefer content that people work hard with, that people put a lot of effort into, and overall can't just be done by any Joe Schmo. Yeah, I was proven incredibly wrong on that. Like, if anything, streams are always sort of like a bonus. Like, I mean, back in the day, I remember when Smosh did that thing where it's like, we're going to do a full live stream that's going to be the biggest thing. It's like, oh, that was big. Or, like, maybe a content creator would make a stream that would be like them making bigger content. Like, artists who would, like animators who would, like Zach Hadel of, like, Psychic Pebbles. He, like, animate and, like, draw stuff for, like, a stream because he's preparing for, like, more content down the line. And streams, like, weren't the content. Streams were an extra. Maybe, like, a monthly Q&A stream or something. Like, it just, to me, didn't seem like it could become the main thing. Especially not in a competitive market. Streams don't make sense to me in a competitive sense. Well, I mean, I guess they kind of do, but it's like, you can't really, like, Vosh and Xander being buddy-buddy might not make sense, because, like, these guys stream basically the entire day, so people who are watching Xan aren't going to pop into, like, Vosh's stream, or vice versa. Now, the thing is, people actually do that, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, if I begin a stream, like, if I, like, especially, like, again, like, I, like, prepared content, like, this is the video, this is beginning, middle, end. I can't just, like, pop into a stream and be like, oh, this is what's happening right now. Like, if Vosh streamed, and then I jump in the middle, I'm lost. I don't know what's going on. And I'm not gonna play catch-up to get to that point. Like, remember those, like, big event streams? Sometimes I'd literally miss, like, the first 5 minutes, and I'd just be like, you know what, forget it. It's not worth it. Especially when you have streamers that literally compete against each other. Like, I mean, I'll literally have, like, a video that comes out, and then the same day, like, the same hour, a person streams. The difference is I have, like, prepared content. They could watch that person stream right now, ASAP, and then they can go back to me and then watch my content later. I just personally like prepared content more. And this sort of leads into another problem that kind of makes it so that streamers and me don't necessarily mix. A lot of streamers don't really prepare, or at least that's the perception that it comes off as. It comes off like, oh, we're incredibly casual, we're doing this, and blah, blah, blah. And it, like, I mean, there's a reason why there was the stereotype of, like, streamers being lazy. Because there are a lot of streamers who, sadly, are lazy and basically mooch off of whatever trends or things that are popular. Of course, this isn't all streamers. Of course, I get it. There are a lot of streamers who do prepare. Like, they prepare their mics to get to the proper octaves and, like, stuff. They prepare their OBS to make sure that it's, like, up to date so that it doesn't crash. They, like, have, like, a plan in mind of, like, what this stream is going to be about. But it does come off a lot casual. Like, and here's the thing, like, casual content isn't even exclusive to streams. Like, my podcast, for a while, and even to a degree still today, it is casual. Like, it's a lot more casual. But here's the thing, they're shit. Like, they're bad. My earliest podcasts were absolutely atrocious. And it was only because I couldn't do the prepared content as frequently as I wanted to that I basically started making these podcasts a lot more prepared. I still have, like, the general, like, train of thought going in my head, which is why I leave in a lot of the ums and likes and blah blah blah. Like I said, blah blah blahs. But I still have, like, notes on the side. Streamers kind of, like, lean in a lot more on the casual type of thing. Like, I think a lot of titles from some streams, like, I mean, I attribute it to Vosh, but it's like, it could just be because Vosh is the biggest streamer that I can think of. I don't necessarily know, but, like, there are titles of, like, streams where it's like, they very heavily lean on the casual. Like the come join in, we're gonna play games or something like that. Something that makes it seem like, oh, this really wasn't, like, well thought out. And this actually becomes worse because there's some people in the prepared content field that actually decide to just sort of transition into streaming. And as I showed on my video about Bad Empanada, that doesn't bode well. Now, this next set of problems I kind of already talked about already in my 178th episode, Why Do Political Debates Suck? Because this is going to be the part where it's focused a lot more on debate streamers. You know, debate streamers are basically one of the biggest forms of streamed content, because debates are basically something that are better when they're streamed. That is true. But those issues are still kind of problems with streaming, so I'll kind of go over it. Nobody has an interest in debate the issues. They just want to get their sound bites and win the debates. A person can literally go on stream and shit in their mics, and people will literally claim that they won because basically the entire thing is just online clicks and fan bases. People will deceptively title a debate to push a narrative, like, crazed Nazi comes on stream and I tackle their issues. So right off the bat, you have in your mind, this person is a Nazi. The casual format really can hurt the stream in a lot of ways. Like, here's one example. Xander Hall did a debate where he debated a pedophile while he was high on weed. Now it's like, that is actually many problems rolled into one. I get it, rolled into one, you know, weed. But the one that ties into the thing that I just said was the dude literally invited somebody onto a debate while he was high. You didn't even... What? Do you not actually care enough about what you're doing to show up sober? Now, that actually also has another problem that I didn't even get into in that previous episode. But I guess I should go over it a little bit now, because as things have gone along, I have started to see a lot more of the flaws in this issue. Platforming. Usually I don't have much of a problem. You know, what's the big deal of if Xander Hall has Lauren Southern on his show? She's infinitely more famous than him. What's the problem with him putting her on the channel so he can, like, make fun of her and stuff? Well, not only due to the fact that debate was terrible, apparently, I didn't watch it, but apparently, like, Xander Hall literally made a video where he was like, hey, Destiny, did I do good in the debate? Destiny's like, you're fucking stupid idiot. What? Which a lot of people I know have said, like, very bluntly, like, you invite a neo-Nazi on the program and then they come out with a more coherent argument than you, and you've essentially just helped them. Especially considering their whole point now is that they're trying to rebrand themselves. Be like, oh, I'm not a Nazi. What are you talking about? There is a limit to the I'm not helping them argument that a lot of people usually try to do. Now, here's another streamer that has actually almost did it good, but then as things started going on, it's like, how good is this again? Dylan Burns. Dylan Burns like did this big thing, like it's like the hippy dippy round table where he invites a ton of people to come on and do like their stuff, but it's like, and at first it seems like nice, but then Dylan Burns also engages in debates himself, so it's like there might be a little bit of a bias issue, but that's like one thing. It's like it doesn't really matter that much. But another thing comes from the people he chooses. Dylan Burns literally platformed a guy who said most black people shouldn't vote 3 times, 2 in a month. A person that a majority of people I don't even think have heard of. That could just be my bubble talking, but it's like, I never heard of this guy until Dylan Burns invites him onto the show to be like, with the thumbnail literally saying, like, I don't believe black people should vote. Like, right there. If he did it, like, the once, then that's one thing. But then he does it multiple times. He invites this guy on many times. Now, if it were, like, a thing where it's like, oh, each time he comes on, he gets, like, a slightly less racist. Like how, like, Vosh did, like, multiple debates with Hunter Avallone, and then by the time that the final debate was over, Hunter had basically shifted to being like a centrist type. But this guy, no, that's not. This guy's like the white guy that Jordan Peterson like is like the white slave of Jordan Peterson, I guess is what you would call him. He gets like a ton of money to basically just say, yeah, black people are inferior in every way. Like, this guy ain't changing his mind, so why are you inviting him back multiple times on a debate? There is a reason why that I might get into in a little bit. The same month he platformed that guy, he brought on a frequent guest of his who literally said that their foreign policy solution is invade Saudi Arabia and North Korea, and then the rest of the world will fall in line to the United States. These are like incredibly bad positions that should not be brought into like top Twitch stream platforms. And Kevin Castley, the guy who did that, is like infinitely smaller than Dylan, I think. So it's like he's literally just bringing this guy on and be like, hey, yo, bro, come on the stream. And another Dylan Burns person that he platforms is a person called Critically Thinking Veteran, CTV. To those who don't know who Dylan Burns is or like who CTV is some like conservative right-wing populist guy, you know, like, oh, pro-Trump and like pro-weed, I guess, whatever. Dylan brings him on basically all the time, and this is the reason why.
Motherfucking Discord working against the people's champion. I'm not surprised when Destiny, you ignorant slut, I can't believe you would even dare go against the fucking Canadian truckers whenever it's obvious to me that the only problem here is Trudeau's lack of release of the COVID mandates against the American or against the Canadian people.
When I played that on my phone, that wasn't even on full volume. Basically, that's what CTV's job is. He screams and yells and says bad words. Now, here's the thing. That was funny the first time, but the joke has gotten incredibly old, and that's all CTV does. It's not funny, and it's not helpful for debate or discussion or anything of the sort. Like, I mean, it fails on both parts. It's like, it's not entertaining, and it's not informative, so there's no reason for it to exist. Except, like, I mean, I know there are a lot of Dylan Burns fans, they think he's hilarious. That's why Dylan keeps bringing him back on. And maybe Dylan's, like, friends with him. He's probably, I mean, I would assume he's friends with him, but it's like, this is, I don't get it. This could just be an E-From, but it's like, I don't see the reason. Another issue with platforming that is kind of related is this. Like, I mean, you see this all the time. Like, Vosh will invite creators on that he does not like. You know, like Professor Flowers. That's a very interesting Freudian slip, I guess. He'll bring on Luna Oi or Mel or Non-Compete, all this jazz. Like, he'll bring them on, he'll debate them, he'll say, like, all these guys are really bad. The videos will be titled, like, Crazy Socialist Calls Me Ugly or whatever. Like, they'll spend all this time platforming people in a negative sense Why don't they platform people in a positive sense? Like, let's bring it back to the big boy himself, Vosh.
I follow a lot of small lefty YouTubers and streamers. Like, I try to pay attention to, like, smaller communities so that I don't get too in my head. And there are so many awesome, like, POC creators who get, like, no attention, you know? And then it feels like the ones that the online left always jumps to support are the worst ones. You know? It's really weird, like, because I very rarely see, like, these big, like jumps to the support of, like, the cool ones. Not even people in my orbit or whatever, just generally cool creators.
And you see, here's the thing. I actually have seen the same problem. Like, I mean, I'm not a fan of Professor Flowers by any means. I saw the Wash debate. I saw the moment where she said basically, like, look, I mean, I wouldn't do genocide, but I mean, if they do it, what are we supposed to do? And I've seen a lot of bad faith actors who happen to be POC creators that happen to get a bunch of support basically because they are POC creators or like minority creators or whatever. But the thing is, Vosh is not doing anything to actually fix the problem. He said in the clip, he follows a bunch of small POC creators that he thinks are really good. Why is he spending all this time bringing Professor Flowers on his show and then debating her and saying all this bad stuff about her and not bringing people who are the smaller POC creators onto his massively popular show to get them clout? In fact, a person in his chat literally explains that same thing to him.
Want to name some of the cool ones you're thinking of? I should do a list. I'll do a list. I'll do a list sometime. I could pull that together. I need to find a way to access my old Twitch stuff though, because my Twitch account got deleted.
The names of the good creators that he follows don't even register in his mind, because the way the streaming system works is that it incentivizes divisiveness. It incentivizes him to bring on the bad people, to platform the bad people, because that's how it's supposed to work. A good platforming stream of platforming a good creator, that ain't no work. I hate even to throw this under the bus, but Humanist Reports Dystopian Times, that didn't work. I know people who were platformed on Dystopian Times. One of them is literally contemplating quitting streaming altogether and then going to work for a cleaning service. Positiveness ain't how it works. It's always the negative, because you know what the negative brings? The next topic. Money. Now, of course, most streamers might do a Patreon, a lot of other streamers, but streamers also have an added way to get monetization on their videos. They can do super chats and donos or just have ads. Now, it can be a good way to get money. Everything, it can be good. Patreon is a good service for smaller creators to get money directly from their fans. And super chat and donos can also be that way. The latter two also giving another way for fans to interact with people. But that also leads into a problem for a number of reasons. For example, there's having a super chat or a dono mean that you incentivize the people who donate more than the people that don't donate? Do you effectively form a caste system in your fan base? Now, of course, a majority of people are of course not. But there's also this other thing. It leads into a weird circular cycle that breeds the worst parts of a fandom that will not only hurt the creator in the long run, but will also make the fans just become more of a rabid fan base. The people who will probably donate the most, or the people who will donate the most frequently or donate the most money, will be the ones who are the most hardcore fans. And the hardcore fans will basically regurgitate everything that the person on stream says, even if it's something that they said on the fly. And any new fans that enter in the scene will do the same thing and become super hardcore. Let's say, for example, there was a streamer who said something I believe the Democrats are not that cool. Then you get a person who doesn't like the Democrats, they donate money, and then that person will say again, oh, well, the Democrats are bad, more money. Oh, the Democrats bad, more money. Democrats bad, more money. But then maybe down the line they think, actually Democrats are not that bad. They can't say that on stream. They don't get that person's money anymore. So the creator is obliged to take that person's money and obliged to keep doing what they're doing. And will basically just regurgitate whatever they say. Like, dance, monkey, dance. I mean, I know a person who, like, they got donos from people that are like, oh yeah, black people are inferior, and then they just regurgitate that same points over and over and over again so they would get more money. Jimmy Dore is a prominent example. He gets super chats from, like, people who are obviously Republicans, so he regurgitates Republican talking points, and so on and so forth. Now, let's actually shift back to a previous point that I made. It was like a thing that I briefly mentioned about, like, the fact that many political streamers, you know, Vosh, Hassan, Xander, a bunch of others, will stream for literally the entire day. And that's the thing about, like, again, the difference between prepared content and I know what the substance of the video will be, and I can control the length of it however I want. I can delete certain things, I can add certain things, etc., etc. Streams are basically like, here's 8 hours, what do I do? And they basically have to find out any way to fill that content outside of, like, the one or two things that actually will make it into something else, like a VOD. Like, I mean, Vosh will title a stream like, oh, Ukraine update. Well, yeah, but he can't do the entire stream as a Ukraine update. Maybe he'll do the entire stream as a Ukraine update, but it's like, what else will he add in there? Will literally the entire thing just be a Ukraine update? You can't make a VOD on that. So he has to do something else. So they basically have to figure out a way to fill in the void. Like, what are they going to do in, like, the dead space? Like, I remember I did actually watch, like, a one Xander Hall stream where they're like, he has, like, a content prepared, and then he, like, BS's for a little bit, and he says, okay, now we're going to get ready for the VOD, and then, like, prepares for, like, what he will post for the VOD. Like, he knew that he was going to be a VOD at that moment, but it's like, what's going to fill in the time for the people who are watching it as a stream? And that basically incentivizes or decentivizes people from catching the streams. And here's the thing, a majority of them are Destiny ripoffs. So a lot of them basically supplant it with games. Like, I mean, I think a majority of them, for the most part, it literally was like games were the primary thing, and then politics was like a secondary thing. Like, I mean, you'll notice that all of the infamous Vosh oh no moments have a video game right there. And if gaming streams are your cup of tea, then that's not a problem. If that's not your thing, like me, then that isn't going to be your cup of tea. I'm an old school person. I listen to, like, Let's Plays that are literally, like, 10 episodes long with, like, edits and stuff. I don't watch, like, a 10-hour video game live stream. I watch the video game content for the people playing it. Now, of course, you could say, well, yeah, but wouldn't you watch it for Vosh? Don't you like Vosh? Wouldn't you want to see him play this game? It's like, no, I don't care. The only time I've ever seen him play games was when he posts VODs of a debate that he has while playing a game, and honestly, that actually isn't good either. Like, Vosh invited this person to debate him, and he's not even going to give the guy his full attention. I think there were literally times in the debate where the guy made a point, and then Vosh said, sorry, I wasn't paying attention to you. I was slaying a Dark Soul demon. And it's like, what's the point? If you're a person who just wants to watch video game content, you're not going to care about this person debating whether or not Bernie or bust is a viable option. And if you're like a politics person, you're not going to care that much about the Dark Soul demons. I mean, even the Dark Soul thing, I put it on my TV in the background while I was working on something. Why should we care about your, like, opinions on this topic if you're not going to, like, sit down and just talk with them? That isn't even the worst type of content that they can supplant into these political videos. One that has gotten into a heavy amount of controversy: reaction videos. Context for those who weren't there: in 2015, people on YouTube went on this huge tirade against reaction videos, mostly brought up by YouTubers like iDubbed and I Hate Everything, calling out the fact that a vast majority of reaction videos are essentially theft, because a vast majority of reaction videos were basically people staring at a screen with the video playing in its entirety, either fully on the screen or half on the screen, or sometimes, if you're lucky, one that's smaller than the screen. The format of the reaction video was not necessarily 100% accurate. Like, sometimes you'll literally have the entire screen be the video, and then, like, the person reacting to it is, like, in the corner. Or sometimes you'll have, like, best case scenarios is, like, usually the ones where it's, like, the full screen is the person, and then, like, the video is playing, like, small. But again, the video is playing in its entirety with everything there, now reaction videos have been a common thing on YouTube for a while. Like, people would post videos of, like, people reacting to Two Girls, One Cup, people reacting to Ghost Car. The Fine Bros had this big thing about reactions before they burned it down in 2014. I think it's actually kind of when reaction videos started getting a bit more of a bad rap. Well, actually, I think reaction videos already had a bad rap back in 2012 because Psyche Pebbles made a video where he, like, made fun of the Fine Bros for not doing original content. But reaction videos are definitely sort of a category where things are definitely mixed in a lot of ways. Now, some reactors do transformative things with their content. One reaction video channel that I watch is a guy called Blue Order. He did reactions of, like, a bunch of, like, cartoons like Steven Universe, DuckTales, Gravity Falls, I think. Maybe not Gravity Falls. But, like, he does reactions to, like, a bunch of other stuff. But the thing is that he actually, like, does transformative content with it. Like, he'll have a moment where, like, a character is, like, plays a scene for, like, a little bit, and then the character, like, has a little funny meme on it. Like, an actual transformative content to the thing. Then there are other ones whose transformative content is literally just, like, them talking at the beginning, talking during the middle, pausing frequently, and giving, like, stories and stuff. Sometimes the transformative content is not reacting to the thing in its entirety, but instead only slicing up, like, the best portions. Like, I mean, if you're watching an episode of, like, a prominent TV show, maybe you slice up the part where there's, like, a big twist, and you're like, oh! And then maybe at the beginning, like, oh, I like this intro song, or whatever. In fact, there are other ways that people did, like, quote-unquote reactions and stuff. Like, the Nostalgia Critic, or, like, other film critics on YouTube used to do the thing where it's, like funny meme, like, movie portion, funny meme, movie portion, and then we're acting as if they were watching the movie through its entirety. And then, like, skeptics sort of did the same thing with YouTube videos where it's like, today we're going to look at Godlover85's video on the Bible, and then play a portion of the video, and then the neckbeard atheist guy goes, I think that is fiction, and, like, whatever. Reaction videos are definitely a mixed bag. To be honest, like, I mean, even though I was definitely part of, like, the big tirade of, like, oh, reaction channels are definitely, like, the cancer of YouTube, I still watch a lot of reaction videos. I mean, some can be interesting. Like, I mean, one of the common things that we're seeing now is, like, there are people of a specific field that are reacting to specific content. Like, oh, historian reacts to this historical YouTube video. Is it accurate? Or doctor reacts to episode of House. Is this accurate? And sometimes you do just genuinely want to see people's reaction. Like, maybe you do want to watch that, like, scene from that prominent TV show or movie, and you want to see people's reaction to it. Like, you've already seen the actual content prior, and you just want to see the people's reactions at this point. Because the problem would be, like, if you saw that entire video, like a reaction video first, which is very possible because a lot of reaction channels got, like, incredibly popular, then what was your incentive to actually go watch the video itself? And recently, Hassan got into a huge amount of drama because of his reactions to other things. He reacts to other people's YouTube channels, and he reacted to one of the Gordon Ramsay shows, not Hell's Kitchen. Maybe it is Hell's Kitchen, but, like, he reacts to those stuff. He got into trouble because he got banned from Twitch for a little bit for streaming Hell's Kitchen. Much like how there was this one streamer that, like, I mean, there's some reaction, I mean, slight tangent, but, like, there's some reaction channels that I legitimately do get mad at, because there's some reaction channels that I watched that are really good, that, I mean, I thought they were really good. I think they did somewhat transformative content with their reactions, and I was very curious to see their reactions. I thought they were funny and stuff. But it was like this guy, I'm not going to give his channel name, but it's like he would post the entirety of a season of a show and do a reaction to it, and then he would be like, why are they banning my YouTube channel? Like how was it Pokimane? Who, like, streamed the entirety of Avatar The Last Airbender, and then got banned. She's like, what? How did it get banned? It's like, really? And the same thing happened to Hassan. He streamed, like, entire episodes of a TV show and got surprised, like, I got banned? What? But of course, like, nobody cares about that. Like, I mean, you watch a video, you watch Hell's Kitchen on, like, stream, who cares? Gordon Ramsay's not going to face any of the repercussions. What most people seem to actually be more concerned about is, like, the smaller creators that he seems to affect, or, like, the decently sized creators that he seems to affect. And no offense, but like, the way Hassan reacts to things clearly do show why that stuff got banned. Like, Hassan, on the stream, is significantly smaller than the thing he's reacting to, thus drawing people's attention to the video itself. And well, yes, he did actually talk a decent amount in certain videos, but there are other moments where he'll literally leave the video playing and then leave to go to the bathroom or something. Like, I mean, you can't, like, I mean, and the guy's like, my reaction to this video, oh, I'm sorry, I left for a good portion of the video, and now I'm lost. It's like, what did you actually expect? Like, I mean, there was one time I literally watched a reaction of Hassan, and it was like, he actually left, and then they said a very important thing in the video, and then he comes back, missed this very vital piece of information that was very much needed to enjoy the rest of the video, and seemed like incredibly surprised or whatever. And this isn't like an exclusive Hassan thing. Like, other streamers like will sometimes do this, but like they'll just like eat while they watch it. Hassan does this too, but I do say like sometimes he does interject, like pause and, you know, give thoughts on stuff and whatever. But actually, believe it or not, this actually isn't the worst type of content, or at least this content gave birth to another form of worse content, which is a subsection of reactions. This is the one that I hate the most. Like, I legitimately, when I first saw this was a thing, it's like, I hate this. No. This is terrible. This is the subset of reactions that is the worst supplementation that the streamers can do to fill in time. Debate reviews. For those who have no clue what a debate review is, debate reviews are when a debate streamer watches another debate streamer's debate and then adds commentary to the debate. The purpose, quote unquote, is to make it so that other debaters can improve on how they debate. It's debatable, however, if that's actually a net good for debate streams. Like, the way this is worded and formatted is now incredibly weird. It's like, the person is going to sit there and then watch a 2-hour debate and then are going to give commentary in that 2 hours and are just going to basically be like, okay, this is what you should have done. The end. It's like, why would I then watch that debate? Like if I watched the debate, why would I watch the debate review? Or if I watched the debate review, why would I watch the debate? I'm not going to watch both. You guys literally expect me to watch like 5 hours of content? Like, I mean, I get doing it for different content, but this is you literally saying, watch the same thing multiple times and then get through it. And the problem is, a lot of these people won't include chapters. I mean, the debate might include chapters, but then the debate review might not include chapters, especially considering, like, if you're going to watch the debate, like, review, you would probably want to get to the arguments, not the actual, like, watching of the debate. Let me give an example. The Dylan Haas debate was 59 minutes and 30 seconds long, including that, like, little stupid intro thing. By the way, I don't like that either. I get that the thing is, like, people, like, you gotta watch, like people have to get the people's attention in, like, the first couple of minutes. If you don't get it, then you don't get, like, the person to watch the full thing, and then you don't get the money. But it's like, I don't like it. I legitimately hate the fact that I have to literally, like, press the skip button multiple times before I can actually watch the Dylan Burns review, like, I want to watch the debate, not, like, halfway through. Vosh will literally begin the debate with him screaming at the top of his lungs, and then intro, and then the debate begins. And it's like, I don't want to see this argument now. I want to see it when it happens organically. But anyways, including the intro, the Dylan Haas debate is 59 minutes and 30 seconds long. The Vosh debate review of said debate is 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 1 second long. That's 33.31% of content Vosh made himself. Why not take that and then make a separate video so that people will be inclined to still watch the debates? Or better yet, don't do that and let people come to their own conclusions, because essentially what you want to do is, essentially what's going to happen is like a bunch of people are going to watch the Dylan Burns Haas stream through Vosh's channel, and then they're going to basically just parrot whatever Vosh says about the debate. Like, oh yeah, I think the debate was great. I think the debate stunk or whatever. Why not let the fans come to that conclusion on their own? And better yet, if you want to help Dylan improve in debates, why do you have to make content about it? Why can't you just talk to him in private? Or maybe give your casual thoughts on it later? I just genuinely don't see the point in like making a hour-long video that is basically just playing a video that already exists to give like 30 minutes of your own original commentary. Now again, this isn't like, oh, all streams are bad, all streams are atrocious or whatever. People are good at the things that they can do. Some people are just naturally better at streaming than making content like mine. Some people are better at whatever. Like, everybody's better at their own things, and everybody should work to better improving their content, including me. This doesn't mean I'm like entirely opposed to streaming. I mean, I'll appear on other people's streams if you want, and hopefully we can make a better left-wing tube or whatever. Make the Rose tube that should be, where some people stream and some don't. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when a future video comes out. And if you need some more content from me, you can go to my website, follow me on Twitter, join my Discord, check out my articles on independent political report, or consider supporting me on Patreon.